Market research is the difference between winning and losing in Airbnb. If you choose the wrong market, nothing else matters. You can have the best design, the best copywriting, the best pictures, amazing cleaners. But if there's not enough demand or profit margin in your market, you will always feel like you're swimming upstream. That's why we don't gamble. We research. And the way we research has evolved. Up until very recently, our idea of how we approach market research went a little something like this. Skip AirDNA, just use Airbnb itself. And at the time, it was the right call. AirDNA had flaws, data was lagging. Some of the listings they counted were not even active on Airbnb. Comprehensive Competitive Analysis, or CCA for the rest of this call, was born out of frustration on our end for sure. Back when we started, everyone was leaning on third-party tools to give cool datas and graphs and fuzzy, warm and fuzzies and metrics and all that stuff, or, recommending some calculator. The problem, the data was not always accurate. Numbers lagged behind what reality was actually showing out in the field, if you will. People were making 5, even 6-figure decisions based on what felt like smoke and mirrors, to be honest. So we went straight to the source, Airbnb itself. We asked, what if we just studied the battlefield directly? Not what a tool told us, but what guests were actually booking, viewing, and reviewing in real time. That's how CCA was born. A boots on the ground approach where you zoom in on an Airbnb market on Airbnb using some parameters and tips and tricks that, that we've tried across hundreds of markets, analyze the actual top performing listings in that area, and then reverse engineer their pricing, booking patterns, what they're doing with their design, what they're doing in the space, what amenities they have, and most importantly, their demand. And then simply spot the gaps where you can exploit. It's the difference between looking at a map and walking the terrain. And the good thing is CCA is timeless. Tools will come and go and they'll change and get better. Algorithms will change. AI will, eventually replace all of us. Great. Airbnb's live data is always the truth, but that method takes a lot of time and bandwidth. And when we were doing it without, any sort of software like AirDNA, we were spending a lot of time going in and digging into different markets to figure out if this market's going to work or not. AirDNA can give a lot of macro views really fast and limit the amount of in-depth, in the weeds work you have to do with comprehensive competitor analysis. So for a long time, we just used the free version of AirDNA to get the, macro analysis. And then we would spend time, and I mean a lot of time, using comprehensive competitive analysis on our own. In fact, it was the primary method that we taught everyone for a while. But things change. AirDNA leveled up in a big way. They now track like 16 million listings. They update daily, and their tools like Market Insights and Rentalizer give us clarity at scale, which is key. After testing it out and speaking with their team, we realized the new winning formula for us was AirDNA from a macro view, looking at all these different markets, going in and getting a ton of useful data that AirDNA provides to then inform a micro view into a market utilizing comprehensive competitor analysis, having them mutually support each other and having it backed up by AirDNA, and you doing the deep work with yourself and Airbnb gives you the confidence from multiple sources that your market research is right and you can move into a decision and an investment with ease and confidence. We realized we needed both. One without the other was leaving some blind spots. I like analogies, so think of it this way. AirDNA is like your radar. Scanning the sky is telling you where the activity is. Comprehensive competitor analysis is your scope, zooming in on the exact target that you want to hit. Let's look at what AirDNA gives you. So here's what AirDNA does best. It gives you a 30,000 foot view. Think of it like Google Earth before you zoom in and what to look at. You got the market score, and we're in a sub-market right now. So the free version, you can just find the market. We're in a sub-market. We're in Alexandria, one of our main markets. So it gives you the market score. It tells you all the things you need to know about the market. Is it even worth your attention? It gives you the average daily rate, how much are properties making per night? And it gives you the occupancy. Are people booking or are calendars empty? And you got to remember when you're looking at this data, right? It gives you the annual revenue potential. It gives you so much insight about revenue. And it's important to remember, and you can see here, if you have no idea where you want to go and you want to pick, it shows you the highest ranked markets. You can even go to sub-markets if you're feeling super crazy. And let's say you're like, yeah, I want to go to Kauai, or you want to go somewhere on Oahu, Hawaii. All these markets Let's go somewhere a little more reachable than Hawaii. Let's go to Oklahoma. Or you know what? South Carolina. Wow. Look at that. That is crushing. Okay, great. But all these numbers, all these rates are giving you like the 50th percentile. So you can go and you can filter by the units that perform higher or whatever. And if you're managing it professionally, you're going to be higher than the 50th percentile. So this should give you a warm and fuzzy that you could go in and crush. If a submarket shows 56K a year in projected revenue with this 67% occupancy and has a average daily rate of 271 and change, you immediately know this area has potential. But here's the kicker. AirDNA is not gospel. It is a starting point. So what do? We go into the trenches, into Airbnb itself. And here's how we cross-check. We search an Airbnb in that submarket. We go week, we select every single month. We put how many guests we're looking for, depending on, what we're looking for and the kind of house we're looking to get into. We search in that submarket. We filter to match the type of unit we actually want to run. Studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, whatever. We look for professional hosts, people with multiple listings, strong photos, branding. We check for, because we want to see what the professional hosts are doing. So, you look at that. A quick way to check if it's a professional host is by seeing how many they have more than one unit. Yep, professional hosts, easy day. So you look at a unit like this. Another way is how many reviews they have. This is a brand new unit. So, okay, but most professional hosts will have, 100 plus reviews or something like that, which means hundreds of stays because normally like half the people leave reviews. And then another way to check is, are the reviews coming in every week or did they dry up? So we'll look at another one that has more reviews like this place. And then we look at the reviews and we see 2 weeks ago, July, June, 4 days ago, 1 week ago, 1 week ago, 2 weeks, 4 weeks. Okay. So people are staying and it's recent. Great. And then you look at the calendar. Is it booked? I'll tell you this one is, it's August is booked, September it's booked, October is booked, even some days in November are booked. So this place is booking out. Great. I know that this is a reputable, match for a comp, and I'm going to click save and I'm going to add it to a new wish list. And I'm going to put, comps, or if you're even crazier, enemies. Love that. And then you're going to create it. Actually, to create that. Then you're going to get a bunch of those that are like this. And then you're going to go in and you're going to do some work. This is where the deep work comes in. This is where not deep work. It's actually mind-numbing work, but it's necessary. It's where a lot of work comes in. You're going to go in and check what their prices are based on, the days that are available, extrapolate, based on weekends and days, what they're getting booked at, go out into the future and see what the prices are in the future. And then, you multiply it by the occupancy rate that you're seeing, and you compare it to AirDNA's projections as well. And I think if they're like within 10, 15% of each other, it's good to go with me. But you can also learn a lot about your competition and see what they're doing. And are they using dynamic pricing? And are they taking professional photos? And this is okay. But I mean, it's like pretty bland. They don't have I don't know, whatever. You start to identify things you change. And the important thing is you identify, some of the gaps, if you will, which we'll get into later. So step 3, identify and prioritize your submarkets. What we normally tell people to do is, start big and zoom in. So you find markets based on, people or where you have leverage, or if you're close to it. And then we say, if you're looking at your first Airbnb, I say, find like a market around where you live. That's the big market as a whole. In that market, there's find 3 to 5 submarkets, someplace that's within an hour drive of where you live. And then you're going to do comprehensive competitor analysis and an AirDNA analysis in those 3 to 5 submarkets. And when I'm saying submarkets, don't think I want to be in, DC. Think I want to be in Northwest, Northeast, Southeast, Southwest DC. I want to be, in Old Town Alexandria. Because then when you're in that submarket and you've done the research on AirDNA and you've done the research on Airbnb, you can start doing research on Google. You can do tourism index, see why people go to these places, what they do when they go there, what drives them there, what keeps them there. You can then look at each submarket has a high ground where there's, the best, coolest amenity in that little submarket. In our area, in Alexandria, it's King Street. The closer you get to King Street, the better. In beach towns, it's the closer you get to the water. In ski towns, it could be the main road or the slopes. All these things, you find out where the best place is, and then you want to get as close to that as possible. But you need to identify that. You identify the tourism zones. And guess what? Here's a little hint. Big business has done that for you already. Hotels and restaurants have already figured where the people are and where they're going. So get close to that and you'll probably be okay. The example of the first market we got into, Alexandria, is because it had business and tourism. So we were hitting multiple markets, and I think our average across the portfolio in Alexandria is like in the mid 70s, which is pretty good. And we didn't just choose the city, we chose the pockets. So AirDNA can help you choose the city and the submarket. The comprehensive competitive analysis can help you choose the pockets. The final step is spotting gaps and figuring out what your competitive edge can be. Once you know submarket works, you figure out how you can stand out. And you do this in the comprehensive competitive analysis. When you're looking at people, do they have photos that can be improved on? Does the copywriting and the description sound bad? Is the title bad? Do they not implement pricing strategies? Do they have one price for the entire, is one price just forever? Okay, great. Amenities. Are they missing amenities? Are they not, identifying amenities? Are they not close to the, market amenities? And you want to get close to that. What are they missing? Because at the end of the day, if it's in a market that works and you've identified there are homes that are available that you could profit from based on the revenue that you're projecting to make, and you can be good or better than the units that are already making money that you identified on the comprehensive competitive analysis, then it's like, okay, great. You're gonna do fine. Here's a pro tip. Sometimes students say stuff like, I saw, Phoenix is a hot market, or I looked on there, like AirDNA says it's a hot market. Should I go there? Here's the truth. The big hottest markets attract the most competition, super professional people, and it's really hard to get an edge in. I'll use a great example. Palm Springs in California. You look at that place, it has a ton of listings and has a ton of crazy listings. And you think to yourself, okay, cool, pool. Obviously, everyone needs to have a pool because it's in the desert. So you think, how do I stand out? And you do something crazy and you say, you know what? I'm going to do something pretty wild. I'm going to build a lazy river. I'll stand out. Got news for you, bud. There are like 4 properties in Palm Springs that have lazy rivers, maybe more since the time I filmed this, which is nuts. So yeah. That's a saturated market. Good luck standing out in that. You're better off finding like hidden gem submarkets. AirDNA will tell you if it's good and it's investable. And then comprehensive competitive analysis will show you how easy it can be to stand out by looking at the existing listings that are already doing well. It's not about what the best market is in the country. It's about what the best market is for you based on where you live, who you know, what you can leverage. Here's the deal. If AirDNA feels overwhelming, we got you. And inside our community, once you hit level 3, by commenting and engaging with different posts in the community, you unlock our full AirDNA course. We will walk you step by step through every feature, market insights, rental ads, or comp sets, so you never feel lost. And I'll also include our link to AirDNA down below. So if you click that and get AirDNA through that, we will, offer you a one-on-one coaching session where we will help you go through and figure out how to use that best to fit your market and what you're looking at. And if you click that link and get AirDNA with that, we will have a personalized one-on-one session with you where we will help you out and get you up and running to help you find the right market so you can find the right property so you can start making cash fast. So to sum it all up, here's the framework that you will use to find the markets that you will crush in. Use AirDNA. Find out, is this market or submarket good to go? Is it worth it? What does it say? What are the numbers? Figure out what your projected revenue is going to be because you're going to need that later. Then deep dive 3 to 5 of those submarkets with comprehensive competitive analysis. Are the listings actually performing? And more importantly, can you compete with them? And can you do a little bit better? Finally, synthesize all this data. Hint, if both align, you've got a green light. That market can work, and it now is up to you. This combined strategy protects you from hype, gives you clarity, and more importantly, keeps you confident. There are 2 important decisions that you will make when you start this Airbnb thing up. One is obviously the property that you pick, but the arguably most important is the market that you pick. If you can have the confidence to know that your market can crush and that if you just perform on average, that you can make money, the rest of the process will feel so much easier, I promise. At least that's how we feel, because this is how we conduct market research now, and it is working for us.